Hallo? Okay, super. Det så I ikke før. This. Prøv at komme med noget.
Forsikring.
Men så er det samme med den video. I dag skal vi...
Løb for helvede!
Stop kameraet!
Nej, det kan det ikke. Kom!
Kom og smag rumvæsen.
Stop, Rasmus.
Sådan der, der smag. Så er det rumvæsen.
Det er godt. Jeg troede lige, den var på dig, mand, der.
Det her.
Det er lækkert. Det er lækkert.
Shit. Fedtet.
8 ud af 10. Nej, ved du hvad? 9 ud af 10. 9,2 ud af 10.
Han kommer et eller andet ord, det der.
Ja, det er nødt til.
Sluk kameraet! Sluk kameraet!
Oh my god, den her skærm her. Så fedtet. Jeg synes bare, det er meget fedtet. Okay, det var faktisk bedre. Yes. Nå, hun laver puslespil. Fair nok. Sådan er det. Så har hun noget at lave. Mere. Hvor er mester? Vælte og mester. Vælte og mester.
Remember Codename Kids Next Door? Of course you do. It was one of Cartoon Network's longest running shows. Its pilot premiering on TV in 2001, and the show proper running from 2002 all the way to 2008. It lasted nearly a decade. Like, when it began, Johnny Bravo and Courage were still running, and K&D ended only 2 years before regular show and Adventure Time came on the scene. That's insane. If you ask me, this show was ahead of its time. Like, a lot of elements you'd find in modern animation, especially the popular picks, are almost all found in K&D. Whoa, it's a wacky, over-the-top Cartoon Network show with 11-minute segments. But there's a wild and deep overarching story, there's continuity, an adequate amount of lore and world building. It's all here. Kids Next Door was a blueprint for the deep, dark story cartoons of today. This show was one of a kind, and in my mind, this was the face of Cartoon Network. It perfectly encapsulated the energy of the channel's brand at the time, while providing a pretty important message for childhood. A show that focuses on the flaws of adults and the disconnect between children and teenagers on an exaggerated scale. A show that made childhood feel like this super cool, exclusive club that we'll miss when we're older, even though we'll barely be able to remember it. I mean, I definitely can't remember my early childhood, but that just might be the trauma. However, like all good things, Kids Next Door and childhood had to come to an end, and the team behind the show understood this, firing off on all cylinders with its 6th season, including a game-changing TV movie, an engrossing final arc, and a satisfying but kinda strange hour-long conclusion, Operation Interviews. The catch, though, was that this finale was extremely open-ended, without necessarily leaving us on a cliffhanger. That's because behind the scenes, Kids Next Door creator Tom Warburton, often referred to as simply Mr. Warburton, was planning more. He knew that this chapter was over, but these characters and the world naturally lent themselves to a new chapter. He wanted the characters to grow with the audience. He wanted a sequel series, Galactic Kids Next Door. You may have heard of it. This channel alone has brought it up numerous times over the years, but I don't believe anyone's made a video on what it is and the story behind it in great detail. A glimpse of Mr. Warburton's vision was shared on the internet and didn't spread like wildfire. Because it was 2015, and animation discussion on the internet is much different from back then. Don't get me wrong, the animatic did pretty good for 2015. But if it happened today, I would argue we'd probably see the series happen. We would probably see something get greenlit. So let me break down all of it. Why the end of the original Kids Next Door was vague in some parts, why it was meant to spin off into something bigger, and the creator's attempt at making that something bigger actually something. Briefly shaking up a smaller animation community. Welcome to Galactic Kids Next Door.
Galactic Kids Next Door rules!
Uno, what have you done?
The final season of Codename Kids Next Door focused on the mystery of the Splinter Cell, a rumored faction within the Kids Next Door that are basically extremists, desiring to wipe out every single adult on the planet Earth. A departure from the K&D's mission to reprimand evil adults. The Splinter Cell was consistently teased throughout Season 6 with these ominous voice-altered silhouettes that end up being Number Infinity and Number 74.239. The latter of which has always been present throughout a bulk of the series, so that was mind-blowing. And the former was a character who only really showed up in Operation Treaty because his entire existence is bait for a sequel that doesn't exist.
Nigel Uno, I am your father.
In the penultimate episode, Operation Treaty, during the midst of an intense battle between the K&D and the deceitful teenagers, Chad, aka Number 274, is revealed to be a secret agent who never stopped working for the K&D. Every single appearance after his faux betrayal was actually 274 helping out behind the scenes. If that wasn't jaw-dropping enough, he also claims that there is no Splinter Cell. It was simply a front, covering up the existence of another group that transcends the Kids Next Door. Something that even Number 362 didn't know about. But before Nigel Uno can learn the name of this group, Chad is interrupted by Number Infinity, who proceeds to defy fucking gravity with what I can only assume to be snot pads, as after informing 274 that Number 1 cannot know what he's been chosen for, and their position has been compromised, the two of them fucking stick their fingers up their nose. You know, the booger thing. But this time, the boogers extend out of their nostrils, covering their entire bodies, and their physical forms dissipate before our very eyes. And then number one's narration reveals that they were never seen again? What the hell? Yeah, you don't get much closure on these characters because, again, setting up a sequel that didn't get greenlit, but you do find out what number one was chosen for in the series finale, which aired on January 21st, 2008. Operation Interviews is wild. Watching Sector V way past the stage of all grown up, in live action no less. The interviewer, who's really father in disguise, somehow has managed to temporarily recommission Sector V in order to recount the events of number one's disappearance during another delightful children birthday cake escapade. You know how that was a thing every season? And how they almost always fumbled the bag by the cake being destroyed or ruined? Yeah, of course it's gonna be the series finale. And they rope in as many characters.
I'm tired.
Transformations in media are the easiest way to spark interest in an audience. Whether Super Saiyan forms, Supersonic forms, Luffy's gear forms, the many Super Mario power-ups, and many others. People just love seeing characters get access to new forms, especially when they bring along new interesting designs and power-ups for said character. And Ben 10 is no stranger when it comes to transformations. Obviously, the show is about Ben transforming into aliens with the Omnitrix, but every once in a while, the series decides to expand on his transformation capabilities. In Clash, they introduced the idea of fusing alien DNA, allowing Ben to become fusions of his aliens, which is something that they brought back in Omniverse for their version of Ben 10K. Omniverse also had Scourge, who was a slime biot who fed off the Omnitrix's DNA, allowing Ben to use weapons or armor made from existing alien DNA in the Omnitrix. And the reboot also gave Ben's aliens some power-ups too, with the Omni enhancements, the Omni Kicks armor, and the Omni Not armor. However, the most prominent power-up / enhanced form of transformations Ben ever got were, of course, his ultimate aliens. An evolutionary function built into the Ultimatrix allowed Ben's aliens to go ultimate. Our first look at Ben's ultimate aliens would come at the end of Alien Force, and after that, the crew decided to market the entire third series around them. Ben 10 Ultimate Alien would go on to be the title of the series, and Ultimate Alien is arguably the most iconic and also controversial entry in the franchise, with the introduction of Ultimate Aliens being a big contributor to both why the show is iconic and diversive. Giving Ben's aliens the ability to evolve sounds fucking hype though. Like, why would you not want to watch the show?
Det er ikke fordi jeg skal være længe live mere nu.